Imagine receiving a direct message from heaven, a prophecy so precise it reads like a map of the future. That's exactly what happened to Daniel, a man chosen by God to receive one of the most fascinating revelations in the Bible, the 70 weeks. But what are these 70 weeks? Are they talking about days, months, or years? And most importantly, what does this have to do with your life today? Let's unravel this mystery together, one that has intrigued scholars for centuries. Get ready, because what you're about to discover might change how you see the world and the future of humanity. The prophecy of the 70 weeks in the book of Daniel, a detailed overview. It all begins in chapter 9 of the book of Daniel, one of the most intriguing and profound texts in the Bible. Daniel, a man of deep faith and wisdom, was in prayer, seeking to understand God's timing for his people, Israel. He was aware of the promises made by God through the prophets, like Jeremiah, who predicted a 70-year period of exile for the Jews in Babylon, Jeremiah 25, 11, 12, 29, 10. Now, near the end of that period, Daniel cried out for understanding and restoration. It was in this moment of intense spiritual seeking that the angel Gabriel appeared to Daniel with a divine message that not only answered his prayers, but also revealed a prophetic plan that would span centuries. The message began with the words, "70 weeks are determined for your people and your holy city," Daniel 9-24. This prophecy, known as the 70 weeks of Daniel, is one of the most detailed and precise in the Bible, covering events that would change the course of human history. The meaning of the 70 weeks. The first thing to understand is that these 70 weeks are not literal. In biblical prophetic language, a day often represents a year, Ezekiel 4:6, Numbers 14:34. Therefore, 70 weeks, or 490 days, are equivalent to 490 years. This period was divided into three main phases. 1. 7 weeks, 49 years, the time for the reconstruction of Jerusalem and the Temple, which occurred after the decree of the Persian king Artaxerxes in 445 BC, Nehemiah 2:1-8. 2. 62 weeks, 434 years, the period leading up to the coming of the Messiah, the Anointed One. 3. 1 week, 7 years, a future period that many scholars associate with the time of tribulation and the Antichrist. Within these 490 years, God revealed 4 main events that would shape the history of Israel and the world. 1. The reconstruction of Jerusalem. After Artaxerxes' decree, Nehemiah led the reconstruction of Jerusalem's walls, fulfilling the first part of the prophecy, Nehemiah 6:15. This event marked the beginning of the counting of the 70 weeks. 2. The coming of the Messiah. The prophecy indicated that the Messiah would appear after 69 weeks, 7 plus 62, or 483 years after the decree. Interestingly, historical and biblical calculations show that Jesus entered Jerusalem riding on a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy of Zechariah 9:9 exactly at the predicted time, Luke 19:28-44. Furthermore, Daniel 9:26 mentions that the Messiah would be cut off, a clear reference to the crucifixion of Jesus. 3. The destruction of the temple. The prophecy also foretold the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. This occurred in 70 AD when the Romans, under the command of Titus, razed the city, fulfilling Jesus' words in Matthew 24:1-4. The end times. The last week, 7 years of the prophecy, has not yet been fulfilled. Many scholars associate it with the period of the tribulation described in the book of Revelation, when the Antichrist will arise and there will be great suffering on earth. Revelation 13, Daniel 9:27. The accuracy of this prophecy is impressive. Sir Robert Anderson, in his book The Coming Prince, 1894, calculated that the 483 years, 69 weeks, from Artaxerxes' decree to Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem align perfectly with the historical calendar. He used the biblical year of 360 days, common in prophecies, and arrived at a date close to 32 AD, which many consider the year of Jesus' crucifixion. Additionally, the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD by the Romans is a well-documented historical fact, confirming the accuracy of the prophecy. The prophecy of Daniel's 70 weeks is a powerful testament to God's sovereignty over history. It not only predicted specific events centuries in advance, but also revealed God's redemptive plan for humanity through the Messiah, Jesus Christ. As the Apostle Paul wrote, "But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of woman, born under the law." Galatians 4:4. This prophecy reminds us that God is in control of all things and that his promises are faithful and true. For Christians, it also serves as a warning and an encouragement as it points to the second coming of Christ and the consummation of his kingdom. As Jesus said, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." Matthew 25:13. The prophecy of the 70 weeks found in Daniel 9:24-27 is one of the most fascinating and detailed revelations in the Bible. It not only demonstrates God's sovereignty over history, but also reveals a perfect plan that extends from the time of Daniel to the present day and beyond. This prophecy was given to the prophet Daniel during the Jewish exile in Babylon around the 6th century BC, in a moment of great anguish and intercession for the people of Israel. Daniel 9:1-3. Through the angel Gabriel, God revealed a divine timeline that encompasses crucial events for the nation of Israel and the world. What are the 70 weeks? The 70 weeks, mentioned in Daniel 9:24, do not refer to literal weeks of 7 days, but to periods of 7 years each. Therefore, the prophecy covers a total of 490 years, 70 x 7. This period was divided into 3 parts. 1. 7 weeks, 49 years. Time to rebuild Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile. 2. 62 weeks, 434 years, period leading up to the coming of the Anointed One, the Messiah. 3. 1 week, 7 years, a future period that many scholars associate with the Great Tribulation, yet to be fulfilled. The first part of the prophecy, 7 weeks, was fulfilled with the reconstruction of Jerusalem, led by Nehemiah under the decree of the Persian king Artaxerxes around 445 BC, Nehemiah 2:1-8. The second part, 62 weeks, points to the coming of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, who was cut off, killed, around 30 AD, fulfilling the prophecy of Daniel 9:26. This event marked the end of the 69 weeks, but also the beginning of a pause in the divine timeline known as the Age of the Church, or the period of the Gentiles, Luke 21:24. The last week, 7 years, is yet to be fulfilled. Many scholars of biblical eschatology believe that this period corresponds to the Great Tribulation, a time of unprecedented judgment and purification in the history of humanity. Matthew 24:21. This period will be marked by the rise of the Antichrist, who will make a covenant with Israel for 7 years, but will break that alliance in the middle of the period, unleashing a time of great suffering. Daniel 9:27, Revelation 13:5-7. The Bible warns us that these events will be preceded by clear signs, such as wars, famines, earthquakes, and the apostasy of the faith. Matthew 24:6-12, Thessalonians 2:3. Many believe that we are living in the last days, a period of preparation for the final fulfillment of this prophecy. The Apostle Paul wrote about the importance of being vigilant and prepared, for the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. 1 Thessalonians 5:2. 1. God has a perfect plan. The prophecy of the 70 weeks shows us that God not only knows the future, but is also in control of everything. From the reconstruction of Jerusalem to the coming of the Messiah and future events, every detail was predicted and fulfilled with precision. This gives us confidence that He is also in control of our lives today. Jeremiah 29:11. 2. The promise of final fulfillment. The last week of the prophecy reminds us that God still has a plan for Israel and the world. The coming of Christ, the establishment of his kingdom, and the final restoration of all things are promises that fill us with hope. Revelation 21:1-4. 3. A call to preparation. The imminence of the last days challenges us to live in a holy and vigilant manner. Jesus exhorted us to watch and pray, Mark 13:33, and Peter reminds us that the end of all things is at hand, 1 Peter 4:7. This means that we must be spiritually prepared, steadfast in faith, and ready to meet the Lord. The prophecy of Daniel's 70 weeks is not just a historical account or a theological curiosity. It is a powerful reminder that God is in control of history and that his redemptive plan unfolds in a perfect and precise manner. As we approach the final fulfillment of this prophecy, we are called to reflect on our own spiritual life. Are we prepared for what is to come? The answer to this question can define not only our earthly future, but also our eternal destiny. If you want to understand more about this fascinating prophecy and how it connects with current events, don't miss the next video. We're going to dive deep into the Bible and unlock the mysteries that God has prepared for us. So curious? Then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any details. See you next time.